Here's the question. How do you make the impossible possible? Simple. Remove the I am, the ego. Now, how do you step into that newfound possibility? With a series of small intentional steps. Never forget, the greatest among us started from humble beginnings. But to truly unlock your potential, realize you're here for something greater. If you're yearning for more than just a good life, let's take that small step together to reach greatness. Welcome to the Greatness from Small Beginnings podcast, where we're talking to those who have gone from mediocrity to motivated, overlooked to overachieving, forgettable to unforgettable. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in again. And I know some of you have gone back to watch this, and it won't be on a Monday morning, but this will first come out on Monday mornings. And I love that we can start the week this way. This I'm not recording on a Monday morning because I have to, leave room for editing and all that. But man, I'm excited to share this one because in some ways, it's the story of my life. It is not, put it this way, it's not been perfect by far. And I'll even stumble over some of what I'm reading and talking about here because, well, let me get into it. Greatness from Small Beginnings is the name of the podcast. Well, here you go, right here. So greatness is something I think that all of us have in us. God has bestowed on us greatness. We're supposed to go be greater. And that doesn't mean average. That means greater. That means doing and really being more so we can do more. Being more on the inside, being more determined, being more persistent, being more educated, being smarter, getting smarter. One of my favorite things that John Maxwell loves to say is that when he starts a new project, he knows that the long term, especially since he's in his 70s, is not going to be him doing it. But what he's learned over the years is that he needs to get some rudimentary, maybe beyond rudimentary level of knowing how to do it and what the expectation should be for somebody that's doing the project. And then he gets to work on it, does it. Now, it might be only 70 or 80% of what would be the 100% of the best possible person doing it, but he does it himself to learn so that he can pass it on. So that's what I want to do in my persistence in my life. And that's what I've been doing for years. And I have a long ways to go. But I can be better. I can get greater. And me getting greater at the business I do and in the projects I do, the stuff I do at church, the volunteer things, if I get better at those, then I make those around me better also. And I learn for future things, future activities, the future of other people so that I can teach the understanding of how to do things and what to do and how to be greater and bigger and more is something that I can pass along. And I love that. Anyway, let's get into it. This is number 7 of the 7 decisions. And please go back to the previous 6. I will mention them, the previous 6 podcasts, because I've gone through each of these solo and I've read something. And anyway, it's been fun. It's been challenging. I've lived in them and now I have more experience. I'm not going to tell you where I got them. You reach out, especially on like Instagram. That's the one I see the most, probably is easiest for me, although Facebook Messenger works. And even I have somebody, and sometimes I even watch my YouTube messages also. Please reach out. But more than anything, please subscribe. Please appreciate what you hear. Hopefully there's some value in this. Okay, decision number 7. I will persist without exception. Knowing that I have already made changes in my life that will last forever, today I insert the final piece of the puzzle. I possess the greatest power ever bestowed on mankind, the power of choice. Today, I choose to persist without exception. No longer will I live in a dimension of distraction. My focus, blown hither and yon on a blustery day. I know the outcome I desire. I hold fast to my dreams. I stay the course. I do not quit. I will persist without exception. I will continue despite exhaustion. I acknowledge that most people quit when pull my microphone in front of me. Hopefully the sound was okay during that first part. I think it was. Anyway, I'm just going to continue as if it is, and maybe someone can fix it for me. Let's see. I acknowledge that most people quit when exhaustion sets in, and I am not most people. I am stronger than most people. Average people accept exhaustion as a matter of course. I do not. Average people compare themselves to other people. That is why they are average. I compare myself to my potential. I am not average. I see exhaustion as a precursor to victory. How long must a child try to walk before he actually does? Do I have more strength than a child? More understanding? More desire? How long must I work to succeed before I actually do? A child would not ask the question because the answer does not matter. By persisting without exception, my outcome, my success is assured. I will persist without exception. I focus on results. To achieve the results I desire, it is not necessary that I enjoy the process. It is only necessary that I continue in the process with my eyes on the outcome. An athlete does not enjoy the pain of training. An athlete enjoys the results of having trained. A young falcon is pushed from the nest, afraid and tumbling from the cliff. The pain of learning to fly cannot be an enjoyable experience, but the anguish of learning to fly is quickly forgotten as the falcon soars to the heavens. A sailor who fearfully watches stormy seas lash his vessel, will always steer an unproductive course. But wise and experienced captain meets his eye firmly fixed upon the lighthouse. He knows that by guiding his ship directly to a specific point, the time spent in discomfort is lessened. And by keeping his eye on the light, there never exists 1 second of experience. And by keeping his eye on the light, there never exists 1 second of experience. My light, my harbor, my future is within sight. Perhaps there was a typo there. I'll figure it out later. I will persist without exception. I am a person of great faith. In Jeremiah, my Creator declares, for I know the plans I have for you, the plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. From this day forward, I will claim a faith in the certainty of my future. Too much of my life has been spent doubting my beliefs and believing my doubts. No more. I have faith in my future. I do not look left or right. I look forward. I can only persist. For me, faith will always be a sounder guide than reason, because reason can only go so far. Faith has no limits. I will expect miracles in my life because faith produces them every day. I will believe in the future that I do not see. That is faith. And the reward of this faith is to see the future that I believed. Man. I will continue despite exhaustion. I focus on results. I am a person of great faith. I will persist without exception. We should read just a little bit more. Anyway, that I will persist without exception. That is the seventh success principle. And please get that figured out.
Here's a little bit more about that. The persistent decision is the key to the other six. Please listen to the other six. I will persist without exception. Uh, without, I will persist without exception, without this particular decision. The other six, without this particular decision, the other six are meaningless. When you make and own this decision, the other six decisions are certain to work, certain to work. Be committed to the persistent decisions. Being committed to the persistent decisions means you accept responsibility and you constantly seek wisdom. You never stop being a person of action. You haven't decided. You haven't decided without exception. You choose to be happy. You live every single day. You greet every single day with a forgiving spirit. Okay, so what are the decisions I've talked about before? I think that's what this is saying. It's going through the seven. It's take responsibility. That's the first one. Take responsibility for yourself. The buck stops here. And then the second one is seek wisdom. Seek wisdom. Seek wisdom in multiple places, but mostly in Scripture, in God, in Solomon, in the people that were wise and are wise. The next one is be a person of action. Do something. It will define itself what needs to happen next, but do something. After that is, let me read here. Have a decided heart. Without exception, you need a decided heart. You need to decide what you're doing and move towards it. Now, is there different ways to do it? Certainly. Will you learn things in the process? Will you may have to change your mind and your heart just a little bit or maybe a lot? Then yes, absolutely. But you have to decide and move forward. The fifth one is I choose to be happy. That has meant a lot to me lately. That one has meant a lot. I've had to choose to be happy in the situation in many of the areas of my life that I am in. I've put myself there. I'm taking responsibility. And now I'm taking the action of being happy. And then to greet each day with a forgiving spirit. Oh man, that is such a good one. That's number 6. And then the 7th one, of course, is persist without exception. That's the 7th one. And this one speaks into all the others. So there once was a story that I had. I was talking to a businessman, and he was in business at the time for 27 years, and me 38 years. And he said to me, "Oh man, I admire that you've been in business that long. That's amazing. You must be a great businessman." And I said, No. I'm not. I'm not a great businessman. He said, "No, that just can't be true. It isn't. Like, I know what it took to get to 27 years, and you've got to be a good businessman." And I said, "No, I really am not. I am tenacious and I can take a lot of pain." So those two things mean a lot when you're talking about the persistence. Live in it. Do the thing. Just have a decided heart. Be happy in the process and just do it. Take action over and over. In the process, gain understanding and wisdom and take responsibility. The buck stops with you. That all of these put together are life-changing. But he was talking to me about respecting me, and I said, "No, I respect you just as much. A business that's grown far beyond mine is what I respect, and not having to do every little thing, every little detail in the business anymore. That is amazing. That is using that understanding and wisdom to make a better life." Okay. So here's a key to persisting without exception. Have you ever? No, let me ask it this way. Did your dad or mom ever make you finish a sports season that you wanted to quit? I did. I did that multiple times with, I don't remember ever wanting to quit sports, but a couple of my kids did. in the middle of the season. I don't want to do it. I wanna get up early. I want to travel. I want to do the thing. And it's like, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, nope, you have to finish. My question for you, my question for them is, did they learn something? Yes, almost always. They usually did. And then did they learn something from, let's see, did they learn something from me not letting them quit? And of course they did. They probably did. So what's the difference in people that when faith with struggles, what's the difference between those that quit and those that don't? Why is one person that quits and why is another persists? Well, it all boils down to faith. And I am going to read some Bible verses about the Apostle Paul. Now, I had someone tell me I sent a text with a kind of a thought about something Paul said in one of his books and to someone else. And they said, man, the guy sounds crazy. And I think he was. I really think he was. He was crazy because God saved him in a miraculous way from a horrible, horrible heart that he had. He was a murderer and God saved him. It was justified because of how the murder was happening, because it was done in piety. And he justified it because of the law he put it in. The law of God is what told him to do these things. But later on, he gets saved and he starts doing this ministry of shedding the kingdom, of sharing the kingdom of God and sharing what he called the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ around the world that was around Israel at the time. And he says this to someone else trying to teach them, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. By the way, he was just about to die. He was older and he'd done the deal. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, here's an encouragement to you, but also to those who have longed for his appearing beside me, basically is what he's saying. For Jesus to come back, take over the world, do it in the glory that he said he was gonna take it over. And yet those same people that long for that are those that are pulling other people into the kingdom, sharing Jesus with them, seeing them get saved and redeemed from issues and problems. No matter where they are and you are in your life or they are in their life, they get redeemed because the truth is penetrating. The gospel is amazing. Here's another verse that he writes to another church. And this just tells how kind of crazy he was and how he persisted. To my shame, I admit that we were too weak for that. I don't remember what that is. Whatever anyone else dares to boast about, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast about, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast about that. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they Abraham's descendants? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I am out of my mind when I talk about this, is what he said. I am more a servant of Christ. I have worked much harder, been in prison more frequently, been flogged more severely. I don't remember any, 6 times, I think, 39 lashes. That's what it says here. And been exposed to death again and again. 5 times. 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I have been constantly on the move. I have been in danger from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, in danger from false believers. I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst and have gone without food. I have been cold and naked. And he goes on to say a little bit more, but the idea is the guy was a little crazy, and he's a good example of persisting. He has a purpose in his life. He was saved. He was redeemed. His job is now to teach others how to get there and do the same thing for themselves, and through whom it happens, which is Jesus Christ. Another example I'll do real quick is the story of Nehemiah in the Old Testament. There's a book about Nehemiah. It's called Nehemiah. Look it up. It's fascinating. Here's a breakdown of what happens is that Nehemiah hears. He doesn't even go. He hears that. So he was an Israelite. He was under the king, King Artaxerxes of Persia. He was under that king, and he was a trusted servant. Okay, so he had worked his way up, kind of, and he was a trusted servant of Artaxerxes. He heard the call of God to say, "Oh man, our city, our main area of my people is a mess. It's just been destroyed. There's no wall." And back then, walls were important. Now, granted, this city isn't huge in today's standards, but there, that city, that wall was pretty substantial. I'll get to that in a minute. So he heard the call from God to risk his life and appear without being invited before Artaxerxes, and then to be sad in front of Artaxerxes, which you did not do in front of a king. And Artaxerxes liked him, appreciated him, and asked him, what is wrong with you? What is bothering you? And he told him, my country, the walls of my city have been blown apart. They've been taken down to one stone. And Artaxerxes says, well, what can I do for you? And basically he goes into action. Not impulsive action, because he had thought through it at least enough to answer the questions of the king. But his actions were to pray a lot, figure out what he would say, be ready when he was asked. He couldn't control the sadness. That is where he risked his life, and that's okay to be sad in front of others, even if they have power over you. And then he took action. Artaxerxes offered him, what is it you need? And he asked him, I need this. And Artaxerxes said, yes, let's do it. And he allowed him to go. So he went to build the wall. This is a couple of countries away. He sent an entourage with him, gave him support, money, gave him timbers, gave him whatever he needed to do the job, which was a big blessing. But then he goes and he faces opposition from the people there. And then he convinces them and they start building. Now, the grander story is he built the wall in 52 days, which is amazing. It's not wall builders that did it. It's not construction people. It's the people that lived there that did it. And he gained trust with those people very quickly and then started building. Once he pulled them all in to pray about the fact that this was going to be a really hard job to do. And they needed resources. They needed to trust each other. There was a lot of things they were praying for. And he was compelled to lead them in that. God had sent him, so he did it. Once they start building, a few weeks in, opposition starts coming their way. Opposition from the people within the town, and then eventually the people from outside the town and outside the cities, and then actually people that were that stood in opposition, but like a military opposition to them. There were several of those also in opposition to him, and they were slandering him and the project. Anyway, he persisted through all of that and still had to lead the people. And during the night and sometimes during the day, there were onslaughts against the walls, and they had to actually fight, work, put up bricks on the wall with an instrument, work tool in one hand and a sword in the other, because That's how under fire, under opposition they were. So the whole idea is that he overcame challenges. Well, this is a 52-day, well, it's longer than 52 days, the whole story is, but it's a 52-day build, which is a miracle that he built it that fast. So obviously he was very smart and he used it for the sake of God's kingdom. But it's a good example to us that when we finish something, when we start something, we need to finish it. That we need to be persistent. We need to persist without question in ourselves. We need to persist. How is it? Persist without exception. That's what we need to do. So that's my word for today. That's the seventh decision. Remember, let's go through them real quick as the buck stops here. I take responsibility for myself. Number 2 is to go get wisdom. Find it. Dig for it. Dig it up. You got to be persistent, but you got to find it. You have to find it. The third one is to take action, to do something. Like my dad used to say, do something, even if it's wrong. And I have always appreciated that be a man of action. And then the next one is to have a decided heart. What are you going to decide to do? Well, I think those might be in the opposite order of what they should be, but I'm not the author. I'm not the one that wrote this. So we put them in that order for a reason. Have a decided heart. Have the decided heart that brings others along. And then the fifth one is to choose to be happy. Just choose to be happy. Go back and listen to that podcast because that one was really good. Had a couple of great examples of other ways to see it. And it's really a good podcast. It happened 2 weeks ago. Decision number 5. Decision number 6 is to start the day with forgiveness. Each day, forgive those others. Forgive yourself. I'm still working on that one myself. So go with me on this. And then on this one, persist without exception. In all 7 of these, but in particular, if you've been given something to do, like Nehemiah, like the Apostle Paul, like you've probably been given something to do at work, even if it's a temporary job, even if it's a job for now, persist without exception and make the wise choice at the right time. That's all I have today. Now, in regards to greatness, I want to read what I always do. Last time I messed it up because I didn't have this ready. But what I read almost every time is a Zig Ziglar quote, and I'm reading this for you. You were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. Now go be great.